Good morning, evening, afternoon, everybody. This is GamerTeah, and we have another info video on Going Medieval. Some of you guys in the comments have asked about perks, what they do, how many there are, so on and so forth. So we're going to take a look at perks today. And let's see here. So, new game. Yada, yada, yada. Alright, so there are a total of 60 perks in Going Medieval. We have aesthetic to disfigured, so the first 15 right here. We're gonna go ahead and doop, doop. Alright, so you guys know me. I'm a modder. I do mods on games, so this is, I modded, so I have 15 perks, so I can show you guys what we're looking at. So Brownie happens to be one of my absolute favorites to mod as a mandatory perk in my game, as it does movement speed, global work speed, +3 to mining, weapon damage, and unarmed damage. So this is, if you're having to pick like your top 5 Brawny, would definitely be in mine. And that's just like a blue background, a guy with a hammer arm. Next is Cold Hardy. It basically means that they can work in the harshest of winter without having to be cold and chilled and stand by the fire. We have Callous. Yeah, it's one of those ones that's worded but actually doesn't have the perks on it. So I think this either prevents a debuff or causes a debuff. I'm not really sure. So flesh is a mere commodity once the soul has fled. Callous. So I think this one particularly makes sure you don't get the debuff when you're around dead bodies, because as you guys know, if you have waste in your stock piles or corpses, then dead bodies will be in there. I believe it's corpses, by the way. So this guy won't get the debuff for seeing corpses. Disfigured. So he doesn't really have a face, but he had a purpose. Few will look mayor in the eye. I don't know what. I bet you this calls a debuff, but I haven't seen it, and I don't know for sure. Churl. Mean and surly, barely even civil. Mood target is -10, so that means you're going to have a bad attitude. And change speed is +10%, so they're quick to anger. Alright, Cannibal. So, a merciless butcher and devourer of men, fortified by human flesh, which means when you end up having to eat people if you're not very careful in your planning, or if you're very careful in your planning and you eat people anyway, he won't get the debuff for eating humans. Alright, Contemplative. So this one, the word sounds good, like it would be a good buff, but unfortunately it has a -20 mood target, so it's a lower mood, and his mood change speed is +5%, so it's not super fast, but it changes. But yeah, he's a grumpy guess. Alright, Brawler is okay, but not amazing. It's +3 to melee and unarmed damage, so that's pretty good. So don't get Brawler and Brawny mixed up. Brawny is your key one you definitely want, because this is actually really awesome. Anyway, so Brawler, +2 to melee, +10 to unarmed damage. Next we have Bloodlust. I can't tell if this is a positive or negative perk, to be honest with you. He comes into his own in a fight, roused by the prospect of violent slaughter. So I don't think he has a debuff for having to fight or stuff like that. I think he might get a bonus, but I don't know for sure. So like I said, words versus pluses and minuses, it makes it a little bit harder to figure out what's going on. Congenial is a decent one to have. This makes it where the mood target is +10%, so they're more happy and easier going. And the mood's change speed is -5, so he's not very quick to anger. Or to, it's a slow pace for his movement on his moods, which is good. No idea how to say this word. Austrete. -35 appetite and +25% consumption duration. So it basically means he likes to fast So he'll eat 35% less food, but it takes him 25% longer to consume food once he does. Aesthetic. He shuns comfort. Ascetic. Not aesthetic. Okay. He shuns comfort, prefers astute, cold bear cell. So this guy won't be out finding fun things to do. So he might be actually easier to keep happy, but I'm not really sure. Benevolent. A ray of hope in an otherwise bleak existence. He makes everyone feel better. So I'm assuming this one does a buff to people he's around as a +2 mood, is what I'm thinking. But like I said, his words I can't tell for sure. Chilly. This guy must be kept warm. So this is the negative one, especially during winter time. So he's going to be a crybaby when the snow hits. And then dainty. He struggles to cope with the little things like dirt, cold, and hardship. So dainty is probably definitely not somebody I would have in my village if I only had a few to choose from. Alright, so that's the first part. Oops, next. Alright, so we got dullard to hot-blooded. Dooby-doop-doo. Ooh, green thumb. Green thumb is also one of my favorites. As most of you know that have played this game, you actually have to do some crops and stuff to keep up with food, otherwise you get behind, especially when you start having 10 or 11 people in your village. Crops are kind of vital to keep things going. So what this does, besides just the +3 to botany, it also increases the harvest amount by 25% and the chance for the harvest to fail by -50%. So this is a really good one to have, especially like when you use barley and you're brewing your ale, making your food, like your garden for your food and stuff. So green thumb is definitely a really good perk to have. Hedonist. Quickly gets bored and starts causing trouble. So this is not somebody I would have in my particular village myself, just because he's a drama llama. Alright, heat resistance. So this is a buff. She loves work in the sun, which means she can be in sweltering heat and not worry about it. But she doesn't have the negative where it says chilly and keep warm. So at least this one has a positive moodlet and not just a negative moodlet. Hot-blooded. This one should be kept cool. So there you go. Heat resistant, can take the heat. Hot-blooded means they have to keep cool or they're a crybaby about it. They shun warm clothing and often throw open windows. Great for stewardship there. So hot-blooded is a no-go, thank you. Erudite. So this one's actually kind of interesting because it has a +15 gain to your XP for the person that has this particular skill. This is actually really good because, let's see, for XP gain, so 0.1 right there, you see the 1 star? It means they will gain 2.5% XP more for this skill. So add that and that up with an extra 15% on top of that. Pretty dang good. And the 2 stars gain 4 times more XP for this skill. And then add that on top of it, you have even more you're gaining. It also has a +5 to intellect, which is nice. So that one's a pretty decent one to have. Gobbler. It just means they eat food 50% faster. So you're good there. Not a horrible trait, but not like one that I would give up my other ones for. Gourmet, they get +3 to culinary, -15% for consumption duration, and +5 for appetite. So they eat more, they're better at cooking, and they eat quicker. So like I said, 2 positives and a negative there. Probably not one I would have on my top 5 list. Gluttonous, +10% appetite, -10% consumption drain. So they eat more and eat quicker. So another negative one I wouldn't mess with. And that was gluttonous. So 40 winks is actually one that you would think would be great, but it's pretty much decent. It's not awesome, but it's not bad at all either. 40 winks means they recover their sleep faster and they deplete the sleep duration speed. Like they don't get tired as fast. They have 10% less getting tired. than everybody else. So it's a good one to have, but it's not the most absolute amazing one. But it is a really good one. So if you get that one, don't shun it. It's okay. You can have it. Hefty. So Hefty has a negative modifier to it for the movement speed. So it's kind of a sad face, but it makes up for it in melee weapon damage and unarmed damage, as well as mining speed. So he can dig faster, but he moves slower overall, period. So I can't really, honestly, I can't figure out if that's a negative or positive for me, because I like the speedy guys. But let me skip ahead here. So he has a -5 for movement speed on Hefty, but you add him in with fleet-footed, which is plus 10% movement speed and 5 motor function, and now you only have a guy with plus 5 movement speed with all the perks of Hefty. So comboing things up help negate the negatives. Alright, so next is Early Bird. So -5% recovery speed plus 5% depletion speed for your sleep. At first, I thought this would be great. Like, all Early Bird just means I need to shift the schedule forward a little bit, and they're going to be amazing. That is not actually true. Because the sleep recovery speed is still -5%, and the sleep it does deplete sleep at 5%, which means it's 5% slower to be sleepy. It still takes longer for sleep to recover at 5%. So it's like a wash. Fair makes it hard for people to say no. I don't know exactly what that does. I have no idea. I'm not really sure what we do with that. Dullard. If you have somebody with Dullard, it's like having all ones in Medieval Dynasty. Just kick them out of your village. Just out of the way. No. Dullard has -5 intellect, -15% XP gain, and plus 10% clumsiness. So they'll fail at a bunch of more stuff. So Dullard, you want them out of your house. Elf Shot is -5% motor function. Not a deal breaker, but if I had one, I'd probably say bye. So Elf Shot probably not. Let's see. Fleet-footed is one of my favorites. It's plus 10% movement speed and 5% motor function. So I'm really happy with that. That is one that I like. So yeah, so out of here, Green Thumb, Erudite, and Fleet-footed, well, 3 that I would definitely take. And Hefty would be kind of hit and miss whether I decide to go ahead and grab that one. I think that's it I had. 40 Winks, like I said, is good. You could take that one just as well. Alright. Guide to Perks 3. So we have Ill-Favored to Robust. So Robust here is going to be Robust 1. We're just going to call it Robust 1. Because there is another Robust, and we'll show you the difference in the icons. Because there is a huge difference in the skills. Alright, so the Robust 1, which is the bottom, is the one that I would have my people use. Because it is really, really good. You got plus 15% hit points recovery, plus 10% motor function, and plus 15% wound regeneration. So when you get raided, these people will recover fast and can get stuff done. So Robust is one that I would take. It is the green background with the arm on it. The other one is a bull with a blue background, and that one really is okay, but not great. Alright, so Iron Stomach, -40% consumption duration, so they eat really fast. Lord of Misrule. So basically they like to play jokes all year round. I don't know if people like jokes or don't like jokes in this particular game, so I can't say if this is a good or bad trait. But I'm thinking maybe not a good trait, but I don't know for sure. There we go, that's Robust again. Laggery is also one that I would boot out of your village. Just because it's -10% movement speed and -15% global work speed. So anything that they're going to do, they're going to be 50% slower than anybody else ever. And movement speed is -10, so yeah, these guys, bye-bye. Ravishing. is Bonnie, and Bly is the summer breeze. Also, I don't know how to pronounce that word, and it's fine. Probably gives a moodlet to people around them, but we don't know for sure. Ill-favored. Born with the boss eye, which makes it difficult to know whether to look at while speaking to them. I'm not really sure. Ill-favored sounds bad, so I'm assuming no on that one. I don't know what it actually does, though. Outgoing is one of those neither great but not bad. Its mood target of plus 5%, so they'll be a little bit happier than other villagers. And their mood change is negative 5%, so it's slower to change. So not a horrible stat if you get it, but not one that I'd actively seek out. Here's another one you want to keep out of your village. Moribund. I don't even know if that's an actual word. But anyway, negative 15% hit recovery, negative 5% motor function, negative 25% wound regeneration. So if you see with this guy with the foot like that, you boot him right out of your village. Alright, so Night Owl. I like this one better than the one we talked about earlier that had sleep recovery and sleep depletion because it lets them sleep faster. Like they knock out their nap time really fast with the negative 5% sleep depletion. So the other one is like 5% sleep recovery and 10% sleep depletion. So you could have ones that take really fast naps and don't get tired very often, but that means you'll have to arrange your schedule around them as well. So this one's a pretty decent one though. Listless. She tends to mope. It's totally a wet blanket and generally isn't invited to anything. So there's your Debbie Downer right there is for listless. So no go on listless for my village. Industrious is actually a pretty primo perk to have. It is plus 10 to global work speed. So anything they do, they're going to have a plus 10 speed on it. Or plus 10%. Sorry, let me rephrase how I'm saying that. So that's still really good though. Precious. It's important to keep this one comfortable. So I would say no to this because guess what? Fair skin, delicate, and nervy, hard pass. Precious can go somewhere else. Alright, lightweight. She can't hold her drink and even a tiny tipple will make her go to sleep. So no on lightweight just because we need our workers to be working and efficient. Infirm is also a no-go. Negative 10% hit points recovery, negative 5% motor function, and negative 5% wound regeneration. So it's not the most horrible thing in the world, but it's not very good either. So she'll do things 5% slower than anybody else, and it takes her longer to recover after being attacked. This one's an angry drunk. It's called Punch Drunk. If you share alcohol with them, expect a black eye or worse. So this is a bad-tempered person. No-go on Punch Drunk. Alright. Holy smokes, we're on perk number 4 already. Alright, it was only 4 because there's 15 each and there's 60 total. So Robust 2 to Wise. Alright, so Robust 2, like I said, is the blue with the bull in the background. It's always hardy in hail and never laid low. So it's not a horrible perk, but you can't really see what they do besides they never get sick. But there's no like stats or anything that I see that correlates with this. So it makes it kind of weird. I mean, you can have both robust if you want to, but I would take robust 1 if I was you. That's the green background with the arm flexing. Alright. Somnolent. That's a thing. Needs more sleep than most just to function. So sleep recovery speed is plus 10%. So it's 10% longer sleeping. And he depletes his sleep 15% faster. So that's a no-go for this Bindi guy right here. I don't know what this means. Alright, vulnerable is negative 10 wound regeneration. Not a deal breaker, but not something I would probably have in my village. Whirlwind is also another personal favorite of mine. There are better ones, but Whirlwind and Fleet-Footed together are very, very nice. Movement speed is plus 5%, and motor function is 10%, plus 10%. So whirlwind is one to have. Alright, so before we had erudite that had plus 15 XP gain, and wise is also one that I would combo in with that one, because it would give you plus 25 XP gain if you had wise and erudite together. So XP gain is plus 10%, and intellect is plus 3 for wise. Let's see here. Next we have ruthless. Andrew is extremely candid. He doesn't suffer fools gladly. But people get... I can't say that word. People are crybabies that can't handle the truth and tend to stay away from them because of that. So a negative moodlet for your people if you have this guy. So ruthless isn't one that you actually want in there. Sunseeker. A few golden rays is all it takes to bring him out in his best. Sex is probably a positive one when the sun's shining, and then just normal when it's not. So that's okay. Stout is one that we say no to. Basically because it's negative 5 movement speed. Appetite is increased by 10%. Consumption drain, they eat faster. So stout is a no-go, so no little piggy for you. Swigger. This one I have like a 50-50 like and dislike with. When they drink alcohol, they do their job faster. But they like to drink on the job. So your alcohol consumption in your town's going to go up a little bit. But it will make them work just a little bit faster. Vigorous is one that I enjoyed when I had to do combat stuff. Hit points recovery is 20%, which is actually really, really good. Wound regeneration is 5%. So these guys heal up super fast compared to everybody else. Snow White just means they thrive in the cold. So they're not going to cry in the summer. So it's no negative moodlet, but it is a positive moodlet once it is cold outside. Robust, like we were talking about, hardy in hail and never laid low, but doesn't have any positive or negative modifiers we can associate with it. Washout, they do not like getting wet, period. Like, if they're wet, they're miserable, which drops down the moodlet, and we don't need grumpy gusses. Winsome, the shy and the bold, knights and children young and old, beautiful to behold. Okay, so that's nice. So I'm assuming a positive moodlet for people in your village if people around them are pretty. Sluggardly is one you don't want in your village because negative 5% movement speed and negative 10% global work speed, which anything to mess with my global work speed or movement speed, I'm super frowny faced about. I don't like either one of those. Boucher is plus 3 to animal handling, so it's not great, but it's not horrible either. So yeah. Now that has it. That was actually all 60 already, and it only took us 23 minutes. This is GamerTeah. Hopefully you enjoyed the content, and I'll be bringing more stuff like this to you as I work on it. But yeah, thank you guys for your time and support, and smash that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Help out the channel a little bit. And I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you later. Have a good one.